Hello, welcome everyone to the Friday Focus. Today is May 29th. Wow, time is flying by, and I welcome you again to another interview that we're having with a very special guest. I want to first just acknowledge everybody and say how grateful I am, White Dove Global, White Dove Healing Arts, and our extended partners are of you and your commitment to the work you do. The industry as a whole has gone through its ups and downs, but that is actually independent and separate from you and your success with how you work with the technologies and how you connect to your clients and your patients. And I just want to give you that little words of encouragement and I want to commend you for staying true to who you are, what you do, and showing up for your clients, because that's the relationship that matters the most. You need the support systems in place, but your relationship and your belief in what you do is trumps anything. And I want to just say kudos, keep fighting and working hard for helping and serving others. So with that said, today is a very special day because we have a guest that I've known for a very long time. Dr. Faith Nelson, who I've worked with since probably it's been over close or over a decade now, has been a practitioner. She's been a leader. She's been a teacher, and she's been a very wonderful, influential force in our community through not only the Quantum Biofeedback Network, but also through some extension educational bodies like the IQIM and Dr. Druin's University, and part of some other really wonderful models of how this technology can play a role in people's lives, especially when she worked in the hospital setting, integrating this work into her practice and helping that take a huge step. Dr. Norm Sheely and her different associations with these leaders are quite profound. And it's an honor and a privilege to be able to sit here with Faith and share what's up, what's going on, and what's new. So without further ado, Faith, welcome to the call. I want to welcome you to the Friday Focus, and good morning to you.
Good morning. Jake, before I start, I didn't know whether to hit this continue button on the webinar Jam Studio. So I guess yes. I hit that. But anyway, it's always wonderful to connect with you again, Jake. And I feel like I've known you since you were a kid, and now you've got a little baby.
I've got a baby and a beard.
Grandma. And
yes.
But yes, I've been in this industry, for quite some time, and as soon as I saw the device, I became passionate with it, and have been studying it for, gosh, the past 13, 14 years, and I've also have had the opportunity of doing trainings internationally, and recently I've been asked by the Quantum Academies to refilm the beginners and the intermediate advanced courses for the quantum biofeedback with the new software uploads with the class 32 on both the SCIO and the adductor that I've been using. And it is a great refresher, for me to go through the entire training, because I actually haven't put on a training for a couple of years, that in depth. And it just made me realize how much information is in there. And, it's always a great idea to refresh. And so I really enjoyed the filming project, and realized that there were panels perhaps that I haven't, really been utilizing, to the fullest degree. And so it renewed or sparked a new interest in myself, and, and exploring deeper, perhaps some other things. And and then I went to Budapest last February and met with Desi, Professor Nelson, and learned about the cybermagnetic chair, and watched some demos with him there, on super learning and different brain functions. And I was so impressed, with how quickly it could enhance learning skills and language skills. And so I have one of the first adductor chairs or cybermagnetic chairs, here in the States. And so I've been working with it and exploring its functions. And like I said, it's one of those areas that I'm interested in providing some training on for those that are going to be, adding that device to their practice. And
that's wonderful.
Yes.
That's great. And for those of you who want more information on that, either contact Faith directly, and we'll share our contact information, and myself, and we'll be able to support you with acquiring and learning more about that. But Faith, that is exciting, because I have one too, but I haven't pulled it out of the box. I mean, I don't know what to do with it. Oh my gosh, Jake. And
well, can they see my screen?
You can share your screen by going with your webinar and studio. Up on the top left, if you hover over, there's a little green arrow. It says screen share. It will be on the left-hand panel. So if you hover your mouse over almost your picture, your video, you'll see on the left-hand panel sliding out a little screen share.
Okay, is this the green panel?
It's the green panel.
Okay, great. And I just need, okay. So I don't know, can they see my screen now?
Not yet. You'll have to click on that button, and then you'll select your share. You'll share your screen, which you can share your screen or a program that you have open.
Okay, well, I hit the green button, but I'm not, then it comes up to Webinar Jam Studio needs your permission in order to start.
Okay. So it hit yes or I accept.
Okay, and then it has the list of different things to check for, who you are on Google, manage your tube account.
Yeah, that they just accept that what it's doing is asking to control your life. I'm just joking. It's asking to connect using your Google Plus account. So.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So, so anyway, for those of you who are not familiar with the cybermagnetic chair, let me just show you here just a picture. And it's, again, new technology, that Desi has been exploring for quite some time. And
Faith, we don't see your screen yet. So if you want to share, just go back up and probably share your screen. It might now allow you to.
Okay. Share your screen. Sorry. Okay, this should do it. Right, Jake? So
yes,
anyway, here's the cybermagnetic chair. And when you do invest in the technology, there's a lot of, I mean, it has taken me quite some time, to get through just the educational and scientific background on this. And I mean, it is phenomenal. And so, when you do it, it's going to take a little bit of a learning curve, but again, it's so fascinating, that, I think that, it's like I said, it's just going to take some time, to understand what this is about. But we're working with frequencies, in the DNA. And this 528 hertz frequency, I think that's familiar to a lot of people because, we can enter that into the Rife, remember? And so the Rife program in your existing program, but I'm also using the wand in this and just discovering how to activate, different acupuncture points. And so anyway, that has been one area of excitement to me. And then
Faith, before we get on to the next and the wand, can you explain the workflow of what the cybermagnetic chair is in terms of it's not an actual physical chair, it's actually a component that lays across a chair, interfacing with your audio port. This is from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong. And interfacing with your audio port, this is where I have a question, is it a separate add-on software that then allows you to actually run according and in correspondence with the main Eductor 64 software, or is it built into the Eductor 64 software?
It's a separate software, and so you download the software, from the program, and then it interfaces with the Class 32 program. And so, can you see my picture on the thing?
Actually, what you're doing is you're sharing I see my picture. What you need to do is just stop screen sharing. So if you go back to the little screen share.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm
You're
still
back.
learning. So anyway, when you get the cybermagnetic chair, it's a separate pad, that then it has its separate device component. And then that attaches to your computer, and you still I run the adductor. You can also run it on the scale, but it's a separate software that you download. And so the way to activate it is first of all, to interface with the client, I first of all activate, the scale and go through the testing, and then activate the cybermagnetic chair to enhance super learning or sports enhancement or whatever area of biofeedback, that you want to focus on. And so therefore it's working at the same time that you're also able to navigate on your device. And then you can, like when you go into the acupuncture programs, because my background in acupuncture, I've been using the probes on auricular acupuncture points, and you can actually feel the frequency, coming through the probe. You can also use it, on the body acupuncture points or on the scalp to stimulate different parts of the brain.
Wonderful. And there's one more component. So you have the pads on the chair that actually will connect to the actual hardware component. It's a small little component box.
Right.
That then will connect into the laptop's audio port. And then outside, and then also there's one more component that we don't want to forget, and that is the audio from the box into the headset, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And that way you are hearing the frequencies, or the
Yes.
deep relaxation, but it's the frequencies, solfeggio frequencies, that you're hearing, but it's also balancing, different spheres of the brain as well.
Well, this is exciting, and it's somewhat, I think, with the, all I can say is the, what's the best word?
Hey,
What's the best?
that's a good
What's the
frequency, Jake.
The best, but I'm trying to, yes, I'm trying to focus on the best description with diplomatic political correctness. Well, screw it. The controversial introduction and rollout of the adductor, I'm not going to lie, and the software transition and the recommended mandated software updates and the way that rolled out, it overshadowed, I believe, the potential and the excitement about what this new component is. If we think about the history, Faith, over the last 15 years, 12 to 15 years, you and I and my family have been a part of this. There hasn't been a new actual hardware or component. And so the fact that this has been available yet so under the realm, even myself hasn't invested time in understanding, is something to at least be aware of, and we need to, it's time to now start sharing this. And I'm so excited that you, of all people, have one of these, so you can invest the thorough and do your due diligence on understanding it. Then we can roll it out and really share the application value of it. That's going to be exciting. So thank you for that, because it's neat.
I'm in the exploration phase with it right now, and it's created a new excitement for me. And so anyway, I did work. I had a phenomenal result with one gentleman. He had peripheral neuropathy, and so I was working on him in the cybermagnetic chair, and it was like a miracle happened to him, to where he had feeling back and he could raise his leg, whereas he couldn't raise it before. And so anyway, I'm excited to explore all the potentials of it. And I'm going to be working, with ADD and autism as well as Alzheimer's with it, because those are two areas, of course, of great need, for balancing the brain. And so that's where I'm going to begin with my focus, as well as with sports enhancement, because of my interest in sports, with others that I work with. And so I think that's where I'm going to be starting, is on that, as well as the super learning for myself, so I can learn this quicker.
Yeah. Now, on that note, let me ask you real quick. I know you've been investing doing this amazing work, and much needed, by the way, for doing a refresher with the new software, with the Adductor 64 software. And yet, tell us about what's going on with Faith Nelson with you and your own practice.
Well, I have a private practice. I'm retired from the hospital setting because I prefer to have my own space and my own time where I can have all the tools that I want to use without any, any saying this or that you can't use this or that. But anyway, I really enjoy having that flexibility. And like I said, what I also do is I do a lot of filming and do webinars. I do a lot of online tutoring with students, and I still am working with IQUIM University. I've recorded a lot of webinars for them, but they are going to be having an international conference this October. And so I'll be recording a integrative healthcare practitioner talk for that particular conference. And I've also, with my other, things that I work with the essential oils and auricular therapy, I still am practicing with those and do trainings with the essential oils, because there seems to be a lot of interest with the essential oils with lay people especially. And it's just it's a fun diversion for me, to do those type of workshops or conferences. And then the auricular therapy with the acupuncture on the ears, I do online trainings with those. And anymore, instead of doing conferences, it just seems like there's been a movement to where doing the live webinars, or live trainings, or things online, seem to at least have taken precedence over the conference participation. So I'm glad that people are still learning in that capacity if they're not traveling to conferences. But I think that having a conference and doing the hands-on work with the instructors is so valuable, and I'm interested in participating in that, if one of those is organized in this industry.
Which is my next topic of discussion. And by the way, if you do talk to Dr. Drew, and I'm going to reach out, I would love to have a vendor booth at that event. I think it'd be great. I got a good relationship with Dr. Drew and Lexi, and I would love to participate in that. I think it's time. I think we're ready as an industry again to get out there on a selective note. And of course, this is kind of my next question, and my next actually exciting news is that Faith, myself, my father, William James Cunningham, Bill Cunningham of White Dove Healing, we are in the process of planning some future live events in the United States and our surrounding countries. So I just wanted to plant that seed and let you all know that there will be some wonderful live trainings coming up in the future, most likely in the fall of 2015. And I know everyone needs time to plan, so we're in the process of making sure those dates are established in the next month. So you have time to show up and plan. And I'm especially excited to come visit your neck of the woods in Branson. So can you share a little bit about some of that environment down there, of why it's special and why it would be I think above and beyond special place for us to come and congregate?
Well, it's very family oriented. If you bring your family, it's the #1 tourist attraction for families, believe it or not, in the country. Yes. And the Ozarks are so beautiful with all the lakes, and it is so green here right now with all of the rain. I find that it's it's a very grounded place, but yet there's a lot of entertainment. They now have their own airport, so there's a lot of flights that fly right into Branson, and there's probably 50 resorts that you can choose to stay at.
Wow.
Very inexpensive compared to some big cities. And like I said, I like to go there with my grandkids as well to Silver Dollar City, and there's all kinds of entertainment. It's like the little Vegas, in the Ozarks.
Oh, okay. Okay. So there's
So
there's
a
the
lot of
resorts,
beaches
casinos, and
and
beautiful spas. That's
yeah,
nice. I didn't know
yeah,
that. I didn't know that.
yes. And then of course the fishing, the trout fishing, and the beautiful lakes. So there's, there's that combination as well. So
Wonderful.
anyway, what I noticed when I was doing the filming, I did have, some students that participated either as a review or new students. And what I saw with the new students was that passion and that excitement. Remember when you were a beginner and you went to
Yep.
bed with your computer? I mean, that stirred an interest in me teaching live again, because, you get feedback, immediate feedback from those students, watching them learn and watching them navigate and helping them get unstuck, from some of the, things that happen with computer glitches. And like I said, I haven't seen that for a couple of years because I've been more of a homebody, and it just made me realize that live learning is so valuable. Not only for new students, but also as a refresher course. For those that, perhaps forgot some of those panels, and then the ability to ask questions right then and
Yeah.
there. So.
Well, the learning, and also I remember the trainings that I attended myself back with Quantum Life Days when I went through that first certification when the academies first started, but then as more of the support system in the industry. But there's the hidden gem of live events and trainings is those secrets and gems amongst each other, because what you find and what I've seen and experienced is the little tips, tricks of how, and the intricacies, the nuances of a session, and how one maybe places their laptop and their screen and their client, or how one introduces it to somebody. All that wisdom is shared amongst each other, above and beyond the teaching of the curriculum from the instructor. So you have this dynamic, and I feel that it's not one or the other in terms of online and virtual learning and live. I believe the hybrid learner is the way we will be learning in the future. And that is the integrated webinar teachings, the one-on-one tutorials, the recorded and literature or correspondence information you receive and you study on your own terms. But you can't forget the live training. And that's the value of that. I'm excited to get that back in place and to be a part of that and to help support that in any way. So Faith, all I can ask from you is to ask me for any support you need on what I can do. Again, I am a limited resources on, of course, what I can do, but I love to share information, and you let me know if there's anything ever I can do to support that.
Well, like I said, I feel, it's time, and and like I said, filming very intensely the past month, and having some live students, I realized how valuable that is. The other area that I'm working with is hospice right now with the end of life. And they have been very, very receptive to integrative approaches. And so with my foot in the door working, with death and dying right now and comfort measures, besides the very powerful narcotics that they usually, knock them out with, I'm teaching the nurses some of these simple hands-on reflexology and use of essential oils. And I'm not to the point where, I'm able to get the biofeedback introduced into that setting, but I feel that that would be the perfect setting, to train nurses or health practitioners to support, the end-of-life patient for comfort measures for pain and stress. So
beautiful. Yeah,
that's in my vision. I'll take it a step by step. Right now, what they're receptive to is what they know, and that's the essential oils, and then some simple reflexology that I'm teaching them in meridian flushing and with touch for health and auricular acupressure and scalp massage. And so I start there because that's something that they can get immediate feedback on. And then once we get that introduced, then, like I said, then I'll, I feel that this is the industry where the biofeedback will play a part. I've also been in communication with a gentleman that's an investor with a large PTSD clinic or hospital in Halstead, Kansas. It used to be called the Little Mayo Clinic of the Midwest, but it's for vets that have come back with PTSD.
Yeah.
And he's very, very interested in incorporating this integrative approach like we had in the hospital, utilizing the biofeedback, reflexology, the oils, the
Wonderful.
nutritional counseling, to get them through this. And also with the cybermagnetic chair, that's going to be an excellent tool to use with these vets as well.
The vets. Well, what I think all these different tools, from the essential oils and the reflexology and the cybermagnetic chair, these are all, I believe, very, very impactful because they're a little more tangible to the end user. And this is my own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And they can be, the senses are auditory.
Mm-hmm.
The smell. These are incorporating and supporting the greater quantum biofeedback sessions, and I think they all complement. And many of the listeners already do this. You already know this. I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm just reinforcing and saying keep using these different systems and tools. And something to think about too is, if you are a practitioner listening to this, I would really lay out and get very, very clear about what's in your toolkit. And because you can be very strategic and smart about being able to pick and use those as you need, a la carte, as well as a group program type approach. And I'm talking more business strategy building things, but really identify those and be able to hone in and key and be able to pull that hammer out when you need it. And because it's not about one or the other, it's about a holistic and an integrative approach. And that's really the approach of the system itself, if that's all you use too. Think about you have the homeopathy, the electroacupuncture, the chiropractic, the NLP. These are also itemized, categorized areas of focus wrapped into one. And so extending that into your other tools is something that I think is important to, obviously you're aware of it, but I mean, really identify what those are, lay them out so that your audience and your customer and your client or patient can really see that, learn about that. And I think it's about getting really clear on what you have. That's my point, getting clear on what, and then when that's clear, sharing the value of each of those. And you can couple and bundle them in different areas, create those different marketing packages and so on.
Yes.
And well, that's exciting. I'm so happy to hear, Faith, you've reconnected with, let's say, a clinical setting that is ready and I think prepared to maybe allow you to have your tools and share these things. But that's exciting. Well, I'm going to also post here, everybody, after, a way that you can get in touch with Faith directly. I'm going to send her website here, and I'm going to do a little.
When I also have the opportunity to, go and work with these dying patients, and I see the immediate effect, of using the oils, like for nausea, or, stimulating a certain point on the ear for anxiety, or a thalamus point for pain, and seeing in front of my eyes they are, because I tell people that, death and dying is the real thing. And, you can't fake it. And so, doing everything you can to support these people in comfort naturally. And especially since they're choosing to, most of them, die in their own homes in that natural setting. I've also have educated, their caregivers in some simple things that they could do for their nausea and for their pain and relaxation. And but like I said, I see that futuristically that could be the ideal setting for for utilizing the biofeedback. But I'm real excited about the PTSD because there's such a need for that in utilizing this integrative approach for that. So I think, I mean, there's so much potential out there. As you know, as a consultant, you just have to, pick, what your niche is, pick what your passion is. And there's, like I said, besides the biofeedback, I utilize all the tools that Jake talked about, in the session and then after the session, so I think that, it's all part of, our integrative practice. And so that's how I have always practiced, is integratively.
And that is the, I think that's the recipe of success. And while we're on this topic of your approach, I want to ask some basic questions that I get very, very regularly. And these are questions more or less for the practitioner who's new, or a practitioner who is making that transition in the bridge faith from the home use or self-practice into the professional marketplace, exchanging the services for freedom units. I call them giving freedom for freedom units, meaning money, financial energy, trade, a professional practice. And I wanted to ask, what is, now I'm not going to talk money and what your rates are, because that's specific to your demographic and geographic area in the country. But I want to know, what is an initial session time? How much time do you allocate for an initial session, and then let's say a maintenance or follow-up?
Well, what I do is when they contact me for the first time, they go to my website and there's the intake form. So that saves some time when they, come to my clinic. And then, so I have their SOC and their health history already filled out. They know what a session is about. They know the cost. I think it's very important to put your cost up front. I keep it very reasonable for the people here in my area. But the initial session generally will take me an hour and a half, because I do a lot of education, for a good 30 minutes, either before, part of it before, part of it after, and do the initial, running of the device, where I'm actually navigating and, seeing the patterns, seeing what is priority. And then I set up the game plan with them, which is 4 sessions after they have the initial consult. And I think that when you package it that way, you get a commitment from them, as well as, knowing that they'll come back. And if, in the past, we've had problems with, if the patients aren't fully committed, when they pay for their package up front, you could still run them remotely if they're not able to make it, to successive sessions, or if for whatever reason they don't show up at your session, I will run them remotely. And so they know that if they don't make it to the session, they still will be run, for the same cost.
That's great. I've never heard that. That's wonderful. That I never heard that model and that ability. I don't know if my father does that or not. I don't know if he does packages like that, but I agree with you. And from practitioners I've spoken with, it's a win-win. One, you want results, they want results. You also want the accountable, committed practitioner, and client. And in order to get the results, we know this isn't it's not the silver bullet one-time fix, or silver button, or silver F key, or whatever we want to call it. I mean, so that 4 package, or the package type of thing, it's a win-win. You know what to expect. One, your value is established, it's built, the commitment levels there, and the probability of a successful breakthrough or transition or step towards their goal, whatever that may be, is greatly enhanced when you give them that option. I think that's really, really important for the listeners to grasp and to implement. And if you have any questions, anybody out there, about restructuring your model, Faith is available. I am available to give you ideas. Now, I can't speak from practical setting. I can give you a lot of ideas of what practitioners have done that are successful models, but the best is to also try it and not be afraid, because there's only one way to sometimes find out if something works, and that is to implement it and give it a go and commit to it. But
Jake, the other thing that I do with I do this with people around the world. If they're interested in having a session, I use Skype and I share the screen, and that way, if they can't come here for a session, then they can watch me navigate.
Yeah.
And then they can also have an interaction with me. I can, see their picture. They can, communicate with me. And so I do that quite a bit too. And I really enjoy doing that. And I'm a big believer, with the remote sessions, because my clients, they get results remotely, and because it is a, interfacing operating system. And so when you're interfacing in consciousness with them and connected with them, and then you're interacting with them while they're watching you navigate on the device and seeing the full screen from their home, then it's a win-win for them too. So I give that as an option to clients, that if they're not able to make a session, they can connect with me on Skype and watch the session remotely.
Yeah, something that I've done recently, because I have an eductor for the family. I use it for family and friends locally, but my wife has a client of hers, a personal training client, that needed some extra assistance in a health challenge she was working with. And Lisa came and asked if I'd be willing to run a session on her. And of course I would. Yet I want to really respect that I know my role. My role isn't that. I haven't invested the consistency of training education. And that's a choice. That's a decision I made. Mm-hmm. What we did is this, and this is fascinating, Faith. I wanted to share this with you. And this topic really reminds me of a new model that we can do, or you could offer, for practitioners who want to learn, but also maybe run into a tough case that they're not comfortable handling. Check this out. I scheduled a virtual GoToMeeting with my dad. I connected my unit.
Yep.
So she was connected. Those weren't. It wasn't a virtual session. Yet the practitioner was a virtual doctor. My dad was virtually control over my screen.
Yep.
Connecting, and it gave me goosebumps, because think about this. So I'm in Michigan. I have a client that is dealing with some transition of life, post-menopausal, let's say, issues. I'm a 35-year-old male. It's not my expertise. I'm just going to say, hey, I need help here. You know what? I'm going to call Faith Nelson and see if she'd be willing to run a session at your rate, at your full rate. And so she got a session. She's had a couple follow-up sessions since. Major progression. She also has seen every practitioner in the neighborhood or in the community. So she's overwhelmed. And so for the first time, it was quite amazing and quite a confirmation that this work has profound value. She said, Bill and Jake and Lisa, this is the first time I think I found some of the root causes of what's going on.
Yeah.
And so she had a nutritionist trying this diet, a blood analysis giving him this diet. So she was doing everything by reducing her diet, trying to find out if that was helping, right? So she was down to eating cashews because she couldn't eat salicylate, I think it is, in a lot of different, salicylate, yeah. And her gallbladder clogged, you know what I mean? And my dad gave her great, just repertoire, released that, did a liver flush, coffee enema, lost 6.5 pounds in the 2 weeks when she came back. Just like profound, all virtually connected through that model. And that to me was exciting, because it realized how as practitioners or as individuals who own the system for home use, yet they need to work on something. You can do that virtually now with the expertise of the Faith Nelsons of the world, which there aren't a lot of, who have the the true clinical experience to really offer that deep in session. So I thought I haven't shared that with anybody. That was a perfect time to
Yes, it
do
is.
it. But even
And
virtually is effective. So
there's actually, I just recently had a client, and he's a practitioner of some other technologies in a remote community, and he has, I mean, he's booked solid, but he loves the skio technology, but he's elderly. He's in his late 70s, almost 80,
yeah,
and he doesn't want to take the time to learn this technology, but he wants to invest in the technology, and then he will do, like we said, he will hook his clients up there, and then I will navigate, from my home, and then collaborate with him with some things that he could do from his practice after,
I
running.
have goosebumps over this. If I had, when I have, which I'll create, I'm not going to say if or when, I'll say when the time is right. That's a model that really is a
Yes.
beautiful model to get a collective of it's almost like a human resource kind of staffing kind of position where you could set up. I could go to Henry Ford Hospital here is a really progressive, very national leading hospital. The investment that the Henry Ford Foundation has done to this place, they've got a whole integrative model. They've got a beautiful yoga. They have the whole. They're integrative. They got a whole natural garden, organic garden there, in-house garden year round to provide for the food for people. Very impressive going in there, because that's where our son was born. Now we had the home. We did the doula home birth. Yet we also had the nurse practitioners at the hospital who actually recommended the doula for us through the process. And they were there as a backup, as that kind of security. If there was any major emergencies, we had that backup. And the environment there, it was really good to see. It made me really happy, and it didn't have the normal hospital energy. And it was really cool. And they're very progressive with the work they're doing. I think they specialize with heart medicine too, similar to the Mayo Clinic. They collaborate. But this model, someone could be going out to these places saying, listen, there's already a trained technician population. You literally need to just have the system. Here's the program. Here's the logistics and the workflow and the value and all the cost and profit ratio, all that. And then somebody just full-time, 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 people can be booking these different locations and managing it.
Because all they
really
would need is a technician to hook the client up, and
yes,
so
absolutely. So anyway, that's exciting. That's something that isn't here yet, but it is.
That would be an opportunity for those practitioners that would be interested in it, refreshing their skills, or becoming the advanced biofeedback practitioner. That they would be on that call list or referral list.
And there's
it's all, I mean, I see it, it's in the vision. So it's just I don't know about your life, but it just seems like things are happening very, very fast. And so it may happen before we know it.
It is. Time is speeding up. We know this by more light hitting our earth, and that's not subjective. That is happening. And with another opportunity, I just want to plant a seed for a colleague of mine, Bill Fanning. He used to be a tech support person for us, Faith. You may know Bill.
Oh yeah.
He's got a opportunity for practitioners too, to work as a technician, and that is working with exclusive athletes in the combine environment in terms of the testing they do before they go pro. Right.
Neat.
To do a kind of a health character assessment, right? Of what's the liability of this person's psychology and their underlying stressors. And they then work with the combines to help influence and give them a rating. So huge opportunity there. But he's building this from the ground up, and any practitioners wanting more information on that opportunity, it's a great opportunity. He's got his own protocol. training for the practitioners to run the sessions. And so let me know, and I'll get you connected with Bill. That's something I just wanted to plug because I told him I would, and I hope.
Sounds like it's along the same lines.
Yes, yes, absolutely. In a niche market, but very, let's just say, when you're about to sign a 5-year, $50 million contract on a human being,
Yeah.
you may want to look into a little deeper than how far they can throw the ball, right?
Or, when they took a team of practitioners over to the Olympics, I mean, that they could have done that with remote, have a remote technician, running it. And
Yeah.
That was quite a cost to send practitioners over there, for I don't know how many months. But anyway.
No, exactly. And so they might, I think that the Chinese, they probably needed that live interaction, but who knows? Well, Faith, everybody, there's a little pop-up there. You can visit Faith's website. Make sure to go to the website, and I'm going to send a follow-out email with Faith's information. And I just wanted to say thank you, Faith, for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
I'm excited about the new curriculum coming out, the new training and refresher course, new live events coming up, and just being aware that you're available for people who need that one-on-one personal elements or have tough cases in your life. So I'll let you have the closing words, Faith.
Well, I'm excited to, be back in the flow, and I, took a little bit of a sabbatical just to regroup, but it's healthy to do that. But like I said, once I got back in the saddle, I realized how much I missed the teaching aspect of it. And I really believe in the device, and I'm excited about exploring the new technologies, that Desi has invented and shared with us. So it's always a learning journey.
Yes, it is. And on that note, you look great. You really do. And I love it. And as a reminder, we are the most valuable tool we have, the most valuable asset in our repertoire is our happiness, our health, and our well-being. I know for a fact that without you, these tools will not serve anything. So reinvest in yourself. Do something fun this weekend. Stay healthy and stay happy. And Faith, what would you do me a favor and give your husband, give Fred a big hug from the Cunningham family?
I will.
Tell him we're thinking of him. We love him, and we love you both so much for everything you've contributed, and it's really nice and beautiful to have you back, re-inspired to share.
Well, thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.